your regular host. I was here last year. I'm here again this year. You can watch me live on YouTube at 32FM 949 Ibadan. At 32FM 949 Ibadan. I'm back on the airwaves. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. We're discussing Nigeria like we did last year, and we will not stop discussing Nigeria because Nigeria is an entity that is meant to be discussed. Good morning, Happy New Year, and you're welcome again. I've done this again and again since I returned to this beat. Every morning on Saturdays when I come here, I try to play a song that sets the tone for my discussion. And sometimes I play a song which message is entirely different from what I'm bringing. Sometimes it's just what makes me happy to broach a discussion on our beloved country. This morning I'll play Redemption Song by Majek Fashek, because I think Nigeria can actually be redeemed. And to redeem Nigeria, we start from having a conversation. Now, do not bother that the agents of the state are scared of discussions. They don't want conversations. The moment you begin to talk, they find a way to hush you or to silence you forcefully. They tell you they give you the right to freedom of speech like it's a donation they make, like it's a favor they are doing you. But when you begin to discuss the critical subjects of state, when you raise conversations on those aspects of governance that make them uncomfortable, they come at you through very terse press releases. Some of them will make very caustic remarks about you. Machineries will be deployed to silence you, either using the force of the state or coming through subtle means by raising trolls against you. But you see, we won't stop talking. The day we stop talking about what Nigeria is, where Nigeria started from, how we got to where we are, and how where we are makes life difficult for every one of us. The day we stop talking about these things, then we effectively bury the entity that is called Nigeria. And there's a saying in Yoruba land that if you leave a madman with the corpse of his mother, if you say and let him do whatever he likes with the corpse of his mother, the madman will end up smoking the corpse, the remains of his mother, and serve it to himself as lunch. And that is why we won't leave Nigeria to them. We'll keep talking. We'll keep asking questions. We'll keep interrogating the intentions of those who sit atop the affairs of the state. Today on the program, I'm going to have a discussion about the New Year broadcast of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. You know, he gave a speech yesterday. It is not commonplace for the president to give a speech. When he speaks to us, it is a privilege. He is doing us a great honor, because according to his handlers, it is not compulsory he speaks. It is a favor when you hear the voice of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Nigeria. And yesterday he decided to bestow that honor on us again. Oh, what an honor. We are a favored lot. When I come back from this music break, I'm going to discuss my observations from the speech of the president. You know that normally the speech of a president on the 1st of January is supposed to set the tone for what government business will be like in that year. It has become a tradition in Nigeria that presidents, whether military or civil, must come to speak to the people. Military or civilian, they must speak to Nigerians. It is the New Year Day speech. And then from time immemorial, you begin to assess what the government wants to do in that year from that speech. You try to get a sense of direction. I think this is where we are going. These are the things we are likely to see this year. So when I come back, we will discuss it. I'm going to raise some observations I made, and then I will open the phone lines to allow you to speak. You will tell me if you're satisfied. You will tell me if your confidence has been helped as regards where Nigeria is heading this year. If it has not, you tell me what your expectations are. And I will also touch some aspects of that speech or that press release that Oyo State government issued yesterday. It's also supposed to set the tone for the new year for the government of Oyo State. The podium returns in a moment. For now, sit back and meditate, not just listen to, meditate on the lyrics of this song by the immortal Majek Fashek, Redemption Song. I'll be back in a moment. Please stay with me.
Both pirates, yes, they rough isle, sold I to the merchant ships. Minutes after they took isle from the bottle and spit, but my hands was made strong by the hands of the Almighty. We firewood in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing another song of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None better would set skin free our woman. I've no fear for atomic energy. None of them can stop time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we'll stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it, but we must have to fulfill the book. Hey, won't you help to sing another song of freedom? 'Cause all I ever had. Redemption song, another song of freedom. Oh, redemption song, redemption song. Sing now with me, children, in every way now. If I return now, in every way now, in every way now. Come and sing along with me, my children. If I return now, in every way now, in every way now. Come and sing along with me, my children. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None better would set skin free our soul. I've no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop this. I my time. How long shall they kill our black brothers in South Africa. And yeah, they sing the part of a system. You know what I'm talking about, my brothers, sisters in Christ, I would say, Lord. But we have to fulfill the book now. Hey, don't you have to sing another song of freedom? That's all I ever had. Redemption song, another song of freedom. Redemption song, redemption song, another song of freedom. Redemption song. Sing out with me, children. Everywhere now, every day now. Come and sing along with me, my children. In every day now, everywhere now, every day now. Sing out song of freedom. Everywhere now, every day now, everywhere now. Every day now, everywhere now. Come and sing along with me, my judgy grandma. No. Every day now, every day now, everywhere now. Every day now, everywhere now. Come and sing along with me, my children. Sing along with me, my children. There go my child.
Safa sapheli sizwe simnyama iwasafa
Isizwe saba
yavula moya
Alijaleni inkokheli zethu
wemaye wemodo wasafa sapheli sizwe simnyama iwasafa
Isizwe saba
yavula moya
Alijaleni inkokheli zethu
wemaye ngiyakhala wasafa sapheli sizwe simnyama iwasafa
Isizwe saba
alawula
Alijaleni inkokheli zethu
wemaye wemodo
I'd like to take an excerpt from the lyrics of that song, Redemption Song, which you just heard. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets? Why we stand aside and look? Or some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? Cause all I ever have, redemption songs. Let me go straight to what I have for today. The January 1 speech of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is usually a pointer in the direction that government will be going. It either inspires confidence or it deflates the aspirations of the people. It is either a way to tell you that we are rethinking governance or we don't care about you. You can go to hell. You could be damned for all we care. And maybe there's a midway. The midway is to say, look, This new year we're in, we're as confused as you are. So all of us are just going to act like a sheep that is abandoned to the whims and caprices of the wind. Wherever the wind blows, we go. Wherever nature sends us, we go. Because right now, the confusion is as palpable among us as it is among the citizenry. So like I told you before I went on the music break, the president did us the honor, at least that is what his handlers would have you believe, of addressing the nation. When an employee decides to be gracious to the employer to have a discussion, not even a discussion, because you'd recall that the president has refused to continue with the age-long tradition of having leaders hold a media parley where some select journalists sit with him and ask questions, and they seek clarifications on policies of the government that the people did not understand. Since May 29, 2015, that this president was sworn in, we're yet to have a day or a time when the president would gather journalists from the print and electronic media to have a discussion. But then we've had a few speeches, and yesterday was one of such. I'm going to leave paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and go straight to paragraph 6. And if it helps, I'm going to say that speech was as distorted as usual. You could rarely find a connection among the paragraphs. You'd start from paragraph 1 to 2 to 3, and by the time you get to paragraph 4, the flow is lost. Another subject is brought in, another focus is thrown in, and then you begin to wonder, okay, we were coming from here, why are we here? And I remember that on this program, after the president's October 1 speech, I invited Professor Francis Egokare and Ademola Adeshola connected with me from Manitoba in Canada, where we discussed and raised this issue, and we said the president's media handlers are not doing enough, his speechwriters are not doing enough. They do not do justice to the flow of his thought. Why should you have a distorted speech? Why can't you see a pattern that leads you from paragraph 1 to the end of the paragraph? Why do we have to cut inroads here and there, and then you can't really trace? But then we'll forgive that again, because maybe that is a style that has been adopted. As unfortunate as that style may be, we'll leave that. Go to paragraph 6. The president says, and I read, "Yet here we are, 61 years by the next anniversary in October, and not only are we here, we are standing tall in the Committee of Nations as one country, united under the will of God, and also actively growing that indivisible Nigerian spirit that has enabled us year after year, decade after decade, to weather all stormy waters and emerge stronger and better where others are falling and disintegrated. This nation, this Nigeria, will survive and thrive." First, you begin to wonder if we are a nation. Nigeria is not a nation, not by any stretch of the definition. We're not homogeneous in language, we're not homogeneous in culture. Nigeria is a vastly heterogeneous society. And then when you talk about the indivisible Nigerian spirit, when you talk about this Nigeria will survive and thrive, it is a veiled attempt to bring the idea of restructuring, which would involve the ability of the federating units to decide whether they want to stay together or they want to go their separate ways. You'd recall the hypocrisy of this government towards the subject of restructuring. During the campaigns for the presidential election, the All Progressives Congress and her presidential candidate at that time, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, sold the idea of restructuring to Nigerians. In fact, if you dig very deep, you find that restructuring was the basis of the political marriage that was instituted between the Southwest and the North. The North, in this instance, the northern elements within the APC, the Southwest had for long advocated the restructuring of Nigeria, a return to true federalism. And then the candidates, Muhammadu Buhari at the time, effectively assured the people that restructuring will come on the table. As much as leaders of the APC and some key players in this government would have us believe that restructuring has been effected or is in process, it is a lie. It is a drop in the ocean. Because till now, what should really be restructured has not been restructured. A discussion has not been held. I told you at the beginning of this program that this government runs away from conversations. They don't want conversations. Intelligent people do not avoid discussions. People who are clear on what they want to do not run away from coming to the table to discuss the truth of whatever holds us together. The president speaks about an indivisible Nigerian spirit. He makes an allusion to nations that are falling and disintegrated. Of course, you'd be thinking about the USSR. Why can't Nigeria be discussed? Why is it impossible? If it is a marriage, the partners in the marriage can discuss and say this marriage is not working. Do we visit a counselor? Do we need to see a therapist? Or do we just approach the courts and dissolve this marriage so that the two partners can go on their own and look for new alliances? Paragraph 6 tells you again that this government will not have any discussion along the lines of the federating units making a choice to stay or to go. The Lugadian arrangements must remain. 1914 cannot be revisited. Your president has spoken on that. I'm going to open the phone line soon so that you also can pitch in your thoughts. But I'm not yet done with my analysis of the president's speech. I'm going on a commercial break now. When I return, I will do a little more, and then the phone lines will be open so that you also can speak to me and tell me what you think. It is 2021. Will Nigeria run the race like it did last year? Are we going to have a change this year? Status quo, or the status quo to be challenged? I'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.
32 FM 94.9.
ọ̀rẹ́ so ti dọ́fíìsì wọn ṣé mo ṣe wí lórí àwọn èròjà sólà tí mo sọ fún ọ so orí wọn níbẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀ sọ́jà àwọn òwọ́n jù so ti rojúlówó Novest Solar product tó jẹ́ ojúlówó ní Novest Solar shop so ń gbádùn product wọn.
gbogbo béèrè tó béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi pátá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo bá.
generator lóríṣiríṣi tó ń lo sólà tí náà fi lè ṣẹ́jú ní tòjò tẹ̀rùn solar water ball iṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ ní kó fami nínú kànga láì lóná ọba solar street light tí ó fààyè gbòkùnkùn bírímù solar fans lóríṣiríṣi tó ń bá ooru bẹ́ẹ̀ fọn wọ̀yá àjà ní Novest Solar shops yìí pitimuni solar panel fún títà lórí inverters batteries tó jẹ́ ojú mi dá solar kit solar generator tó ń ro iná lágbára ní gbogbo ìgbà láì sanwó oṣooṣù.
wọ́n rẹ̀ ìròyìn ọ̀tá fojúbà nǹkan kan mo wá lọ ṣùgbọ́n ọjà mẹ́fà mo kó jáde ńbẹ̀.
fún ìwọ tó o ti mọ̀ ó pé ọkọ ra solar product ní Novest Solar shop kàn sí Novest Solar shop ní Ìbàdàn office Akíndélé plaza opposite Alámọ̀sẹ̀gbà stadium Èkó tẹ̀dó Ìbàdàn telephone 08058544486 ó pé ọ kó o rajà ní Novest Solar shop.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Yamula mo
Anijalemi ko kelize
Let's go quickly to paragraph 7 of the president's speech. I want to gather pace now so that I have enough time. And by the way, you can watch me live on YouTube at 32FM 949 Ibadan. at 32FM 949 Ibadan. I just got a personal message here and I'm going to read it. Maybe I won't read it, I'll just pick the point out of it. The person who sent me the message said, Sean, you need to go easy on the government. Okay, let me read it. The person said, Sean, you need to go easy on the government. The president gave a speech. It is just a speech. We don't have to have deep discussions about everything. Let's just trust the government. Can I laugh? I'm struggling for the right words to describe this message. But this message suggests to me that there's a defeatist mentality within the Nigerian system. There's a mentality of a conquered people. The mentality of a people that have been triumphed over by their own kith and kin, where whatever they get is a favor. Whatever they do to them must be taken just as it is. It is a fatalist perspective. What will be, will be. How do we say it is just a speech? Just a speech coming from the president? Do you know that a speech is a product of a series of thoughts, a sequence of considerations? How do you even gain access to the mind of a man if not by what he says to you? How do you understand what forms the foundations of the thoughts of a man if you do not access his words? That was a 19-minute speech, for God's sake. A 19-minute speech presented by the president, or made by the president, with 34 paragraphs, a national broadcast, and you say it is just a speech. You're asking us not to overthink, not to have too much deep discussion about what the president, an employee of the Nigerian people, said to them. Nigerians can joke a lot with their own future. I believe that was an attempt to make me laugh. We will continue with the discussion. Actually, the podium is a podium of conversations, several conversations from different perspectives, several thoughts, whether relevant or irrelevant, whether stupid or intelligent. All the thoughts will come together because both the stupid and the intelligent voted the government to power. Even if they voted the opposition, you are in government, you are an employee of the people. We will have conversations about your KPIs. We are going to interrogate what your plans are. So we continue to analyze the speech of the president. When I come back next week, if he makes a statement in the course of the week, or any of his agents makes a statement that we think is very important, that we should indict with a thought, we will come back to the podium and have a discussion. If you think the president is fantastic, you think the best you can get is what you have gotten so far, and you think we shouldn't have a discussion, it is your choice. But Nigerians, they want to talk, and the podium gives you an opportunity to talk, because talk we must, and talk must we. So paragraph 7 of the speech yesterday, the president did not deny that there were protests. He did not deny the basis on which the protests held. In fact, the president acknowledged that people were tired, they were fed up of the brutality of the present police system. He acknowledged the hashtag EndSARS protests, although he didn't mention EndSARS. And he promised to meet the 5 demands of the movement. And that was commendable for me. That the president acknowledged that there were issues that motivated the protests. and that there was a commitment to meet the 5 demands. You remember that there were 5 key demands articulated by some leaders, quote and unquote leaders of the movement. But I still found that, like the president did in his late October speech, he failed to take personal responsibility. You see, in Nigeria, leaders rarely take responsibilities for failures. They either find a way of deflecting attention or they make an excuse. It is the alien to the leadership system here that you will come out and take responsibility and say, look, we goofed on this thing, this is on us, this is our fault. It is very strange here. Leaders do not want to be seen as weak. They believe that it's a sign of weakness to say this is our failure and we are sorry for it. I'm yet to be shown a part of the president's speech, whether written, spontaneous, although he never does spontaneous speech, or a press release from government, from the desk of the president, that says in exact words or implies that this is a failure of government, and that as the head and the father of the nation, like his handlers would like to refer to him, I take responsibility. Excuse me. The president also acknowledges the role of youths in the development of the country, and they promised to create opportunities in fintech, agriculture, business process, startups, and the entertainment industry in order to take full advantage of the energy of the youth population, and that is commendable. Of course, I admit and I agree that there have been a number of interventions targeted at the youth in order to encourage them to become entrepreneurial, but more can be done, and it gladdens the heart that the president said opportunities will be created with fintech. In fact, fintech is growing so fast that it is threatening the existence of the core banking business. A lot of banks are moving to fintech now. They are moving to fintech. A particular bank already said that a huge investment would be made into that space. So it feels good, it tastes nice on the tongue that the president is thinking of creating opportunities in fintech for youth, agriculture, business process startups. But then let's go to paragraphs 13 to 16. 4 paragraphs were dedicated to the subject of security. But I'm sorry, maybe I take a commercial break. It's time. It's a very short commercial break. When I come back, I'm going to share my thoughts on those paragraphs 13, 14, 15, 16 that the president dedicated to security. With what I read in those 4 paragraphs, maybe the president should have just devoted only 2 lines to security and moved on. You want to hear my thoughts? Don't go anywhere. The podium returns in a moment.
32 FM 94.9.
tí wọ́n bá lo ráyéwá nítorí pé o lówó lọ́wọ́ tí wọ́n bá ń tàn ọ́ pọ̀ ráyéwá nítorí dúkìá tó pọ̀ tó ní ọkàn ò tí ì balẹ̀ pọ̀ ráyéwá àlàáfíà lògùn ọrọ̀ ṣáájú ara rẹ o ìlera sílẹ̀ mí gígùn gbogbo àrùn tí ń ṣe ẹ̀dá láyé náà kọ́ láyé fi ń ṣe ni bí dọ̀tí bá pọ̀ lára tí gbogbo ẹ́ńjìnì tásẹ̀dá dá bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tó kọsẹ́ má fòyà tó bá ṣe bí ẹni rárá tára rẹ ò ṣe déédéé pinnu ló kan àyà ara rẹ o Benetton cleanser ní kò sẹ́mu agbanugbade fọgẹ̀dẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ara dànù Benetton jagunlabi panko pè ọ̀rẹ́ ara tọmọdé tàgbà tọkùnrin tóbìnrin ló lè lò ọ̀sọ́kùnrin sóbìnrin dò pépé Benetton cleanser atẹ́jẹsẹ̀ maradan bíi kóròsìn Benetton cleanser kìkìdé gbòógì tí ò lọ́tínú la fi ṣe ó ti wà káàkiri ilé ìtajà ògùn jákèjádò ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà a sì ń wá alágbàtà fún Benetton cleanser pé nọ́mbà kò demand 08034051533 08034051533 iléeṣẹ́ ẹ̀mí one naturalist care ló ṣe Benetton cleanser òun láyé tún lò.
Safa sapeli sizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba
Yamula mo
Jalemi ko kalise
Wenhaye wemodo Safa sapeli sizo
In case you're just joining me for the first time, the Podium is the program on 32 FM 94.9. On the dot of 8 a.m., I assure you, I'm going to open the phone lines so that you can speak. Or let's just say 805. I will allow you to speak. You'll have enough time to also share your thoughts. If you have read that speech, if you haven't read it, you go and download it, check it, and then listen to my analysis. You're free to take me up. You are free to take me up if you disagree with any of the things I've said. It is a conversation. We're not looking for a speech winner. We're not looking for an oratory contest victor. It is just a conversation. Paragraphs 13, 14, 15, 16 of the president's speech focus on security. And this is my own verdict. Those paragraphs were the same empty, vague, dull, colorless, and uninspiring rhetorics. There were no specifics. The president opened with re-energizing and reorganizing the security apparatus and personnel of the armed forces and the police, and it went on and on and on. And the first question you ask is, how will you re-energize? How are you going to reorganize the security apparatus? How will you measure the effectiveness of whatever you do? Where is the scientific approach in re-energizing and reorganizing the security apparatus of the country? Where is the hint of management science in this process? What are the specifics? He didn't speak to any specific. Are the service chiefs still going to be retained? The same service chiefs that have been there since 2015. The same service chiefs whom you admitted at some point that they had reached their wits' end. This president has been inconsistent in his appraisal of these service chiefs. At one point you tell us only God can secure Nigeria. At another point you say, oh, my service chiefs are doing their best. At another time you say, oh, it appears that they may not be able to do more than they are doing. You are an inconsistent supervisor. The appraisal basis is not even clear. What are they going to do differently if they've been there for almost 5 years and nothing has changed? What are they going to do differently? Are you going to do anything specific about the failed, or if you like it, moribund security architecture of the country? Are you considering the proposal that you should return to the arrangement of having military contractors? You disbanded that arrangement when you came in. You said it was an insult to Nigeria that we were employing military contractors to help in the fight against insurgency. But then the men you have on ground have not been able to deliver. You still kept them in place. 4 paragraphs on security, and you had the same thing that had been said over and over again. Nothing specific, nothing to hold on to, just the same repeated sounds. Paragraph 17 to 22, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22, 6 paragraphs were dedicated to the economy. The president spoke about the railway project, and I commend this government. I commend this government for the railway projects, whether you like it or not. In recent memory, and maybe even as far as 1960, when Nigeria gained independence, this government is about the only one that promised and delivered on some railway projects. We cannot deny the Lagos to Ibadan rail line. You can't deny the Abuja to Kaduna rail line. And a lot more is being worked upon in that aspect. So I'm going to give kudos to the government. But more can be done. More can be done. He spoke about the diversification of the economy. We cannot deny the fact that export is growing, especially non-oil export. I saw the figures from the NBS about 2 weeks ago. Although I have a problem with Nigeria leaning more towards the Asian nations, we are leaning more towards the East, especially China, and we are losing out on business in the West. But maybe with Brexit, that is the exit of Britain from the European Union, maybe it will work in favor of a country like Nigeria. But that is provided we have thinkers in government, people who have a plan to take advantage of the divorce between Great Britain and the European Union. But I love the fact that we're diversifying and it keeps growing. Local production, especially as regards agriculture, is getting better, although a lot more could be done. A lot more funds could be pumped into that space to stimulate growth, and a lot more empowerment could be done for smallholder farmers. The big boys are still feeding fat. I don't want to mention names so that I'm not charged for commercial business, but then a lot more of the big boys, the fat cows in that space, are still feeding fat on the sweat of the smallholder farmers, and those are the guys that should feed us. A lot of opportunities will arise in the coming years, in the coming months, as a fallout of COVID-19. There are projections that food scarcity is going to hit the globe. There will be food crisis. How is Nigeria positioning itself? The president says now the borders are open. While that appears like a policy somersault, because at some point you close the borders, and experts kept shouting you cannot close the borders when local substitutes are not assured. Now the borders are open. The president says we are open to business, and maybe it can be done legally so that the government, the state, can take full advantage of revenue that comes from there. The president says reforms are going in the power sector. The contracts of the discos expire this year, but the president did also not give us specifics as regards what he will be doing in the power sector in 2021. We don't have the specifics. He spoke about special interventions for job creation, and that is commendable. But I am worried. I'm worried because I didn't hear anything on the peculiarities of a post-COVID-19 economy. How is Nigeria planning to gain comparative advantage as a result of COVID-19, the crisis that this pandemic has created, and the opportunities that will emerge? 2021 is going to be a strategic year in the global economy. Smart nations will begin to take advantage. Economies that are knowledge-based took advantage last year. They took advantage, serious advantage last year. The Netherlands took advantage. Norway took advantage. A state like California, despite the challenges that they had, they took advantage. How will Nigeria also take advantage? I didn't see that. What are the plans for economic recovery? We didn't see that. Nothing was said about that. The AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area, was launched yesterday. It is the biggest trade area since the World Trade Organization was founded in 1995. That area has 1.2 billion people. It's a market of 1.2 billion people, and a projected GDP of $3.4 trillion. You would remember that Nigeria was one of the 54 member states of the African Union that signed up or that started the negotiations for the AFCFTA. But when it was time to sign the agreement, the government this present government in 2018 decided not to sign. They said because they did not agree anymore with a lot of the provisions of that agreement. The excuse was that local manufacturers would suffer. So Nigeria delayed, we stalled on signing that agreement, while nations like Eritrea, Morocco, South Africa also delayed. Ghana, Kenya, Namibia, these guys moved in very quickly, signed up because they had quickly ratified the agreement in their countries. And then eventually July 2019, Nigeria decided to sign. I remember the former president of Nigeria, Olusegun Obasanjo, saying it was regrettable that Nigeria failed to take advantage of that agreement to sign up quickly and take a leadership position. It was a missed opportunity. It was a failure of strategy. By the time Nigeria was going to sign up, some nations had taken the lead. I was hoping the president would talk about this trade area yesterday. I was hoping he would touch it and give a hint of how these could hasten our economic recovery, could stimulate local production, could encourage business owners, and what could Nigeria get from it. It would have been a great selling point for the government. It would have inspired some confidence that 2021 will probably be better than previous years. The speech, although there was a mention of COVID-19, it didn't give an indication of how the Nigerian government intends to stand up to the new wave of COVID-19. Nothing was said about protocols. Nothing was said about preparedness. No mention of whether there is an effort to develop a vaccine in Nigeria, or we are reaching out to nations that have the vaccines to see how we can leverage on our relationship with them. Someone may argue that even those nations do not have enough, but what stops us from at least negotiating? If we are doing that, could the president have talked about it? Would that have inspired some confidence in people? Nothing was said about how we intend to run the nation within the first quarter or even the first 2 quarters of the year, considering the second wave of the pandemic. If you're not worried, I am. The speech of the president, would I say it inspired confidence in me? Would I say it left me deflated? Would I say it left me worried? Or would I say it encouraged me? My opinion will be kept to me. But when I come back from this commercial break, I will open the phone lines so that you can share your thoughts with me. You can take down the phone lines to call. Just write them down. And when I come back, we can begin to have an engagement. 080-97,949. 080-97,949. And 090-62,949. 080-97,949 and 090-62,949. The podium returns shortly.
32 FM 94.9.
Gbogbo ará Ìbàdàn ẹ kú oríire. Adùnbániralẹ̀ kọ́lé ayọ̀ Evertop Realties Limited ló tún gbé tuntun dé. Wọ́n ní kò yẹ kí wọn náà má nílé lórí ni wọ́n fi sílẹ̀kùn àǹfààní ẹ̀dínwó fún gbogbo ẹni tó fẹ́ nílé tara tiwọn. Èyí tó ti ń lọ lọ́wọ́ tí ó sì wá sópin ní January 31, 2021 nínú estate wọn United Estate tó wà lólógún ẹrú extension lẹ́bàá ìdó local government nítòsí reluwé tuntun tó tẹ̀ kó wá síbàdàn. Ẹni tó bá sanwó lẹ́ẹ̀kan 25% discount làǹfààní tó máa jẹ tí 15% discount sì wà fún gbogbo ẹni tó bá sanwó díẹ̀díẹ̀. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti wá ralẹ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀ máa jẹ bùrà bàǹdẹ̀ bí odidi màálù tó tóbi tán gas cooker deep freezer àpò rẹsì adìyẹ tó fi mọ́ òróró àti ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ntẹ́nu ń jẹ la fi ní ẹ̀kọ́ sí wọn lónìí ní Evertop Realties Limited tó wà ní 6265 Adékúnlé Fájuyì Road Adámàsìgbà Ìbàdàn tàbí ká pè 080-222-66806 tàbí 080-561-48303 ẹ sì lè pe ambassador Evertop Realties Limited Abídèmí Kòsọ́kọ́ sórí 070-6213-2696 website www.evertoprealtiesltd.com Evertop Realties Limited lóní owó àgbà kọ́kọ́rọ́ létí ẹ lọ́dún 2021.
Vacancy, vacancy, vacancy. Do you have a family member, relative, or friends qualified for the available vacant positions? If yes, a reputable organization is recruiting for the post of marketing executives and sales representatives here in Ibadan, Oyo State. To apply, send your CV to careers@titanfarms.org. I repeat, careers@titanfarms.org. Deadline 6th of January. Titan Farms Management Announcer.
ọ̀rẹ́ so ti dọ́fíìsì wọn ṣé mo ṣe wí lórí àwọn èròjà sólà tí mo sọ fún ọ so rí wọn níbẹ̀ lọ́pọ̀ sọ́jà àwọn òwọ́n jù so ti rojúlówó Novell Solar product tó jẹ́ ojúlówó ní Novell Solar shop so ń gbádùn product wọn.
gbogbo béèrè tó béèrè lọ́wọ́ mi pátá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo bá.
jẹnẹrétọ̀ lóríṣiríṣi tó ń lo sólà tí náà fi lè ṣẹ́jú ní tòjò tẹ̀rùn solar water ball iṣẹ́ tiẹ̀ ní kó fami nínú kànga láì lóná ọba solar street light tí ó fààyè gbòkùnkùn bírímù solar fans lóríṣiríṣi tó ń bá ooru bẹ́ẹ̀ fọn wọ̀yá àjà ní Novell Solar shops yìí pitimuni solar panel fún títà lórí inverters batteries tó jẹ́ ojú mi dá solar kit solar generator tó ń ro iná lágbára ní gbogbo ìgbà láì sanwó oṣooṣù.
wo ọ̀rẹ́ ìròyìn ọ̀tá fojúbà nǹkan kan mo wá lọ ṣùgbọ́n ọjà mẹ́fà mo kó jáde ńbẹ̀.
fún ìwọ tó o ti mọ̀ ó pé ọkọ ra solar product ní Novell Solar shop kàn sí Novell Solar shop ní Ìbàdàn office Akíndélé plaza opposite Adámàsìgbà stadium Èkó tẹ̀dó Ìbàdàn telephone 08058544486 ó pé ọ kó o rajà ní Novell Solar shop.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa
Isizo saba.
I was thinking I'll be able to discuss some aspects of the press release that Oyo State government issued in celebration of the New Year yesterday, but maybe I'll be able to do that. Do you want me to do that very quickly? Okay, I said I'd open the phone lines at 5 minutes past 8, so I have 2 minutes. Let me do that. My key takeaways from Governor Seyi Makinde's statement, as included in that press release, would be: 1, nothing specific was said about the escalating security situation in Oyo State, and that gets me worried. Security situation is escalating in Oyo State big time. There are incidents of robberies around now, and I was hoping the governor was going to speak to that, especially with respect to what Amotekun would be doing in Oyo. I saw a video in Oyo where some headsmen reportedly invaded the farm of a woman. I still have the video on my phone, and they threatened to kill her. She's on the run presently, on the run for her life. And then you have situations around Agbowo where local boys now had to form vigilante groups to watch over their areas because they said robbers visit that area frequently, including inflicting almost deadly injuries on security men. There was no specific updates on the judicial panel of inquiry that was set up after the #EndSARS protests. That panel has not been holding public sittings. The last we heard of them was that they were reviewing complaints that they had received. When some other panels in some other states are already having public sittings, nothing was said about the preparedness of Oyo State to fight the new wave of COVID-19. Nothing. There was only a reference to how the state handled it last year. Are we going to sit on the achievements of the past without getting clarity, absolute clarity on where we are heading this year? On traffic management, Oyo State is becoming a very huge field of traffic confusion. It is becoming a very vast, chaotic field when you're driving. Now, because all over the city, traffic gridlock. and the statement says, oh, we are expanding roads, we are rehabilitating new ones, and all that. Now, what are you doing in the meantime? Because to rehabilitate a road, you are talking about months. To expand a road, you are talking about months. What are you doing about that road that comes from Gate straight up to Challenge? That road is narrow. Where are the traffic lights? I think Oyo State should outgrow having men stand in the middle of the road. You go to Bodija, that Bodija market intersection. Sometimes you find the traffic wardens there. They'll sit down, they'll be eating puff puff when the sun is high up in the sky, and the whole road is in a tight fix. It's either they are tired or they are disinterested. But then, where are the traffic lights? Why can't we have traffic lights in the meantime at those critical points that will guide people? Traffic lights will manage traffic better than humans. I was hoping I would hear that. I was hoping I would hear the plans and the short term to fix these things. Let's have a discussion. 080-97,949, 090-62,949. Those are the lines to call. Good morning. Okay. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, man. Hello?
Okay, there is a noise coming from the background.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, it's better. Your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, my name is Kolawole.
Kolawole, where are you calling from?
From Ibadan.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, you are my, you seem to be my, I'm sorry, to praise you. Yes, you are my, you make my day today.
Thank you.
I've never had any presenter so speaking to the truth as to the power the way you just speak. If all the other journalists are doing what you are doing in your case, it will be better, far better than this.
Thank you.
My own take is on the government of the state. I also read the speech on it, what is it called, the social media. I didn't see anything significant in terms of agriculture. Prices of commodities are too expensive in your state. My own problem with this leaders is that despite the fact that we have good knowledge of how to do all these things, they are not making use of it. A governor is supposed to tell people at the end of the year that this is the number of maize that we need in your state, and this is the number of bags of maize that we are going to produce. This is the number of bags of rice that we are going to produce. The government is not saying anything about that. And you see, that is the reason why the state is nearly there. Because the fact you see people on the ground, you see people around begging for food. In fact, thank you so that another people can talk. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kolawole. I appreciate your time. And I love that angle you brought in. What are we doing about agriculture? What will Oyo State be doing about agriculture this year? You can tell me that it's in the budget, but then how many people listen to the budget details? But you see, people will listen to your New Year's speech. The president did not even speak to the budgets for 2021. The governor for your state also did not. And then what are we even doing in Oyo State about? Have you seen the way beggars have invaded the streets? You can speak on Nigeria. You can speak on the speech of the president. You can also bear your thoughts on the press release by the state government. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Joseph. I'm calling from Ijokodo.
From where? Ijokodo?
Yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to speak generally on the Nigerian situation.
Fine, go ahead.
Okay, I think our leaders, both the president and the governors, both present and past, they are a big disgrace and embarrassment to the country. Okay, if the truth is democracy is not working here in Nigeria. Whoever came up with this idea of setting up the government to provide security and basic services for the people, because the thing is not working here. If this is what government is about, just to impoverish people, to torment people, to cause people discomfort, then it's very sad. Okay. I prefer to live in a country of 1 or 2 million that is prosperous, that is an Eldorado, than to live in the so-called largest black nation on earth, devil with insecurity, intolerance, bigotry, nepotism, marginalization, corruption, and other stuff. So we our leaders have completely lost it. They are disconnected from the reality and the Nigerian people. That's why they come out every now and then to tell lies. Okay? It's gaslighting now, just to make you question your own reality, what you already know. And you have some misguided and delusional Nigerians who make lame and flimsy excuses for them. Those that come from privileged homes. Okay, so they are insensitive to this.
Thank you for your time. You also can call me 080-97949 and 090-62949. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Ajini.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Alakia.
Okay, great. Go ahead, please.
I've been hearing your analysis concerning the president's speech yesterday, and it's a flat statement, just like what we've been hearing from him over the years. It is quite unfortunate that we're in this mess as far as this country is concerned in the 21st century. As a social analyst, as a political scientist, when I'm listening to news every day on a daily basis, I keep asking my questions. Are we really a nation? Because nothing nation about this country and nothing federal about this country. The federal government has been deceiving Nigeria. The government has no directions. The economic blueprint has been dead. And we have the people. The people are they are okay with the status quo, just like what you said earlier on. I pity this country. Most of my friends abroad, they keep telling me that, guy, we have nothing to do in that place anymore. Please pack your baggage and leave that place. It is quite unfortunate, for God's sake. We should ask questions. We should ask questions from the government. The social contract that is between the government and the governed has been breached in this country, for God's sake. We, the citizens, are not engaging them. We are not asking the right questions. Yes, if we put them there through the process of democratization, automatically we should be able to demand more from the government, because this government has lost reality with the people. No direction, the security failure has been collapsed, the economic blueprint has been collapsed. Nothing is working anymore. The future is bleak. The economic blueprint has no idea. I don't know. To be sincere, I don't know. But I know that by the special grace of God, this 2021, I believe that by the time people continue to ask questions, and the people should not say their vote anymore, we cannot continue like this in this country. Just like what you said, look at what Sweden, Netherlands, Norway has been doing. Look at the speech, for God's sake. I remember what happened in 9/11 in the US when during the September 11th terrorist attack. Look at the way President Bush has been addressing the nation. The man was very assertive. He was very progressive. For God's sake, if you are not capable to rule this country, why can't you resign, for God's sake? When the mental capability is no more working, why can't you leave the place for people that are ready to work to take this country to the next level? Why? All the youth in this country, the only thing they have is to leave this country. For God's sake. I'm a working class. But the news I've been hearing from my people abroad is that, guys, they have nothing to do in that place anymore. That place is a jungle. Can you imagine? No problem. That is just my submission this morning. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you. I'll take a quick commercial break. When I come back, I missed out on two aspects of the president's speech. I missed out on two of them, and I'm going to come back to talk about them.
FM 94.9.
Ode, ohun tá ń wí Ode.
Mọ́mí Adé, èwo la tún rí gbọ́ o. Mo mọ̀ wípé a kì í gbọ́ irú orin yìí lẹ́nu yín lọ́fẹ̀ẹ́.
Dádì Adé, ṣe bí ìròyìn ayọ̀ ni mo mú wá fún àwọn ará agbègbè Challenge, Mọ̀lété, Oríta, New Garage, Sanyo, Sọ́kà, pàápàá jùlọ Fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀. Pé ilé ìtajà Living Proof Supermarket tún ti kalẹ̀ gbà sí Fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀ báyìí o.
Irọ́ o, ṣé Living Proof Bakery and Supermarket kan náà tá ti ń ra oúnjẹ jẹ, ọtí ẹlẹ́rìndòdò, ìpara toiletries ní manufacturer's price yẹn kọ́ ni.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o, ẹ ti já sí i. Ìrọ̀rùn gbà ní shopping bá dé báyìí o. Ẹ̀yin tẹ̀ kì í fi sardine bread Living Proof ṣeré rárá. Ó ń gbóná fẹlifẹli lẹ́wọ̀n máa jẹ gbogbo bread wọn. Torí baking machines wọn dúró sẹpẹ́ ní gbogbo outlet wọn ni. Ẹ ò tí ì gbọ́ tán o. Ṣé rí oúnjẹ tí ẹ fi ṣe lunch last week yẹn Living Proof Eatery ni mo ti rà á. Nítorí náà ibẹ̀ ni mo fẹ́ kẹ́ gbé wa lọ fún dinner lọ́la o.
Mo jẹ́rìí ẹ̀, ìyàwó mi.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni, èmi ò tẹ̀lé gbogbo kíní kan price wọn. Manufacturer price ní Living Proof Supermarket ń ta gbogbo nǹkan tiwọn o. Living Proof Bakery and Supermarket wà ní ìdojúkọ ilé epo Mẹ́ínà lọ́nà ológun ẹrú ní Ẹlẹ́yẹlé àti Living Proof Bakery and Supermarket tí a ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ṣí ní ilé ìtajà Pinnacle tẹ́lẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀nà Challenge Ìdí-Odò sí Fẹ́lẹ́lẹ̀ Ìbàdàn. Fún àlàyé ẹ pè
08035457120
tàbí 08154664418.
Ìtẹ̀síwájú nínú ìmọ̀ ló ń gbéni dókè téńté láwùjọ. Federal Cooperative College Ìbàdàn ti tẹ́ pẹpẹ ẹ̀kọ́ fún olúkúlùkù láti wá gba tiẹ̀. Ó ti pẹ́ tá a ti ṣàgbékalẹ̀ ilé ẹ̀kọ́ Federal Cooperative College tí àwọn akẹ́kọ̀ọ́ bẹ̀ sì ń ṣe dáadáa. Bí ìpele ẹ̀kọ́ diploma ṣe wà ní National Diploma àti Higher National Diploma ń bẹ nínú àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ bíi Cooperative Economics and Management, Business Administration, Accounting, Marketing, Computer Science àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Tó o bá sáà ti ní credit 5 nínú English, Maths, Biology tàbí Agric Science àti àwọn iṣẹ́ méjì míì ó kéré tán 2 sitting nínú ìdánwò WAEC, GCE, NECO tàbí NAPTEP á jẹ́ wípé ó ti perégedé láti ní admission sí Federal Cooperative College Ìbàdàn nìyẹn. Ètò ìgbaniwọlé sí full time àti part time lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́. Ìwọ sáà ti tètè lọ gba fọ́ọ̀mù tiẹ̀ lónìí ní Federal Cooperative College lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ FAMIC Ẹlẹ́yẹlé Ìbàdàn 08038319232 tàbí 07038853407. Federal Cooperative College Ìbàdàn, ìgbésókè nínú ìmọ̀ ìwé.
Mo bólúwa dúró ṣé bí wọ́n ní ẹni bólúwa dúró kò ní jogún òfo. Lórí ètò Mo bólúwa dúró láti máa ṣàgbéyẹ̀wò àwọn ìpèníjà táwọn opó ń dojúkọ láwùjọ bí wọ́n ti ń dá bùkátà àti jẹ àtimú àwọn ọmọ wọn gbọ́ pẹ̀lú àwọn ọ̀nà àbáyọ lóríṣiríṣi sáwọn ìpèníjà yìí. Kí lójúṣe ìjọba, ilé ìjọsìn, ẹbí, àwùjọ gan lápapọ̀ sáwọn opó kò wá tán síbẹ̀ o. Lórí ètò yìí láti máa gbàlejò àwọn opó tó ti yege jàjàbọ́ láti ṣàtò ohun tójú wọn rí tẹ́tì máa kó àwọn ẹ̀kọ́ lóríṣiríṣi. Tó bá wá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ pàdé ọmọ yín olólùfẹ́ yín Ẹ̀míọlá Àgà ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Sunday ọjọ́ àìkú láti aago 6:15 ìrọ̀lẹ́ sáago 6 ìrọ̀lẹ́ lórí ìkànnì yìí 32 FM 94.9. Ètò Mo bólúwa dúró gbìnàyà ẹ máa tẹ́tí lẹ́kọ̀ọ́.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa.
Okay, I want to do this very fast. Did you observe the president also spoke about corruption? And he was trying to make the president was trying to arrogate achievements on corruption. Really? When you still have a Gandola, a Ganduje as the governor of Kano State, a man who was caught on camera stuffing dollars into his babariga, and you held his hand to announce him as the candidate of the APC in the 2019 elections. You have an Akpabio with issues still sitting tight as the minister of the Ministry of Niger Delta. You have a Maina with all of the shenanigans around him. Yes, you could say, oh, he was arrested and brought back to Nigeria. But what happened initially? And for years that has gone on. He even got out of jail, jumped bail, sneaked out of Nigeria. And you guys didn't know. You have a Babachir Lawal, do you remember? The grass quarter. I mean, you could go on and on and on and on and on and on. Would you compare the reputation of this president, his supposed anti-corruption stance before coming into office, with what you see now? And then in that speech, the president acknowledged several forms of violence across different regions of the country, but he still took no responsibility. Nothing specific was said on how the violence, the spate of violence, was going to be reined in. Rather, the president took advantage of that event, the violence, especially in the northern region, the banditry and all that, and used it as an excuse as to why the dividends of democracy had not reached those people. So instead of explaining to us what happened, you used that as an excuse. No solution was preferred. Come on. How do you acknowledge a situation and you're the commander-in-chief of the Federal Armed Forces? And that was supposed to be an excuse. 09062200949, 08097,949. I'm going to say no more this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Your name, please, and where you're calling from.
This is Grace from Ibadan.
I didn't get that.
This is Grace from Ibadan.
Okay, please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I wish you a happy and prosperous New Year.
Thank you. Same to you.
Please, sir, the way things are going in this country is so pathetic. When I was in the second back 1994, we studied something in government that there is a provision in the Constitution that says when the presidency is acting not accordance with the people's want, that a vote of no confidence should pass on such a president and he should go on exile. And now, the way things are going, doesn't mean that that part of the Constitution is not operative again, and doesn't mean that the Senate members are inactive in their own position to do this thing. Please, I have people saying that what we passed through last year is even easier than what we're going to raise this year. So, if we are a contractor to fall into a tyrannical ruler like this of our presidency, I think the military of such a country should do something. So please, it's what I want to.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, I actually want people to speak to the president's speech. I mean, did you listen to that speech? Have you read the transcript? I'm interested in hearing the thoughts of people, not just a general speech. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Are you there? Okay. I think the last caller did not drop his call. Please, when you call me after our discussion, just end the call so that others can come in, please. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I am Adeyemo from Ateke.
Okay, very well, go ahead.
You know, most of our leaders, both the past and the present, they don't have the fear of God in them. And what did the Bible say about the fear of God? It said the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. And in another passage from the Holy Book, it said, truth exalts a nation. Now, if our leaders fail to fear God, would they have wisdom? They won't have any wisdom to do anything. And that is why Nigeria is not running the way. Nigeria is not progressing. Nigeria is not moving forward. What can you say about a particular leader? A leader, a governor, who prevented the graduate teachers from primary school to be promoted to where they should be for almost 10 years. And later, he decided to do something contrary. So, what will you say about those people you have mentioned, which the president is trying to copy? I think the president is trying to, either because they belong to the same party, trying to do a sort of cover up. Medina was expelled from the party. He ran away during the regime of former Jonathan. He was brought back with this regime. He was taken to the office, reinstated, promoted, given the necessary, backdated his promotion, and he was given all the necessary monetarily. They helped him out again. He was being looked for, declared wanted. He was brought back. Again, he was allowed to go away before he is finally arrested. What can you say about that? Can any son or daughter of a former be given all those chances? They are in the same, they have the same, they are in the same party, so they can do and undo. only the masses of this country that they are suffering too much. That is my own concern. Because
okay.
the masses are suffering.
Okay, I have to let you go now.
Any government in power.
Okay.
Who makes sure that the masses,
Can you round off now? I have to let you go now so others can also speak. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. 09062,949 and 0708097,949. Pardon. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Sheo.
Oh, Sheo, nice to hear from you. Oh, I was wondering where you were.
I've been listening since. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year. Same to you too.
Yes. Yeah. Without wasting time, I think firstly there used to be this enthusiasm, the urge to hear from the president of the country before. In this case, the president of Nigeria. While growing up, we used to be cluttered around the television, radio, wanting to hear. But for some time now, I would not want to tell you the specific time. we've been disappointed. And as such, on December 31st, when I heard that the president was going to give his New Year speech, I was not expecting anything wonderful, something out of the box. And so I wouldn't say I was disappointed. But for the sake of this discourse, I think the first problem we have is that there's a crisis of governance in Nigeria. There's a scarcity of critical thinkers in government, in every sphere of government, either the local, state, or federal level. And as such, you would expect that to get things that are, to get critical national provisions for the people would be very scarce too. Now, the president talked about the protest, security, the economy, talked about corruption. He talked about the vaccine too. I think he talked about.
No, he didn't talk about the vaccine.
Yes, he talked about the COVID-19
vaccine.
Yes. And then I think he started his speech in the first, second, third, and fourth about was emphasizing the fact of how the unity of Nigeria cannot be broken, negotiated. I think that was what he started with. And as such, you would be baffled that why would a country that is failing in almost every front want to be together? And I used to say something that if the reason for which people come together to form a government, like the social contract theory is usually postulated, is for the security of their lives and properties. If we say something is a contract, there's an offer, there's an acceptance. And if for any reason the conditions of the contract are not being met, there's a failure on the part of government.
There's a basis for withdrawal.
Yes, then there should be a basis for withdrawal. There's legitimacy in asking that, sorry, this marriage can no longer work. Do you understand? I'm not all out that Nigeria should break up. But why should people be forced
to stay together? There should be a discussion.
Yes, there should be. After all, we say we are living in a free society. We are working. We are operating in a democratic constitution. What is democratic about this? There's a crisis of governance, and there's escalating security situations all over the country. And this same government is very quick at arresting people for treason, for felony. And they've forgotten that even gross negligence in handling national security matters is felony in itself. That is the truth. And I think the government, the people in power continue to do some things intentionally. They continue to create a mass of uneducated people, especially in a particular region, because they know that unless we have a well-educated people, we are vulnerable on our national security, and then there will be less people to ask for whatever they want. And then he talked about I don't want to talk too much about security. It is glaring.
I have to let you go shortly, Sean, because my time is up.
Okay. I think as time goes on, we must continue to ask questions that are not comfortable.
We're not tired.
If things continue to go like this, I don't know what will happen in the future.
We're not tired of talking.
Yes.
We're not
Thank
tired.
you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Sean. You too. Okay. Sadly, I have to go at this point. The phone lines are still buzzing, but my time is up. That is the program for today. I'll return next week to continue the never-ending conversations about Nigeria. We're not tired of talking. In fact, this year, we're going to ask the annoying questions. We're going to ask the difficult questions. We're going to ask the questions that make them uncomfortable until they realize that truly power belongs to the people, not the way a particular political party that messed the country up for years claimed to say it. That in the real sense, that power resides with the people. Ezekiel Oluwaseun is my name. I return to the airways 6 p.m. tomorrow with Gospel Cruise. I'm wishing you a very beautiful 2021. God bless Nigeria. Good morning.
32 FM 94.9. Heaven made a radio. Gave it a soul and